Hello, I'm SeaMonster51, and these are my Week 15 NFL predictions. Last week I went 7-7, which is not all that to be honest, and I am now 134, 73, and 1 on the season. Let's start off these Week 15 NFL predictions with the Thursday night game. First, we have Falcons versus Bucks. The Bucks lost last week to the Saints, and this is a must-win game for the Bucks against their other NFC South rival, the 4-9 Falcons. And I think they get it done. They should win and get their 8th win of the season. Now let's move on to the Sunday games. First, we have Commanders versus Giants. These are two teams who are pretty much eliminated from the playoffs already. In fact, they have the two worst records in the NFC right now. Since this game is in the Meadowlands, I'll go with the Giants to win this game. Lions versus Rams. This is my first of my 4 upsets that I have this week. I feel like this is a week where there would be a lot of upsets. The Rams are 5.5 point favorites in this game, but with the Lions fighting for their playoff lives, I think they win and get their 9th win of the season. And even if they win, they would still be a half game behind the Bears for that 7 seed. Panthers versus Saints. The Saints already upset the Bucks last week, and I think this week they upset the Panthers. And the Panthers are 2.5 to 3 point favorites in this game. Okay, and this game we're going to skip for now because it's a Sunday night game. Cardinals versus Texans. The Texans played really well last week against the Chiefs. Well, at least the defense did. I didn't think CJ Stroud had his best game, but he got the job done against the Chiefs on Sunday Night Football. But what did impress me the most about the Texans was the fact that they intercepted Mahomes 3 times. And this should also be an easy win for the Texans. And if they win, they stay as a 7 seed in the AFC. Okay, Browns versus Bears. The Browns had a close loss last week against the Raiders. And the Bears also had a close loss against the Packers. I thought the Bears were moving the ball pretty well against the Packers up until that interception in the end zone. And they should get an easy win against the Browns in this game. And if they win, they move up to the 7 seed to the 5 seed in the NFC. And they'll also double the win total from last season. Raiders versus Eagles. The Eagles lost last Monday night against the Chargers. And it also seems like the Eagles are having a little bit of a slump this year. They also had a slump when they made it to the Super Bowl in 2022. In 2023, they lost in the wildcard round in the playoffs. Right now, they already have 5 losses on the season, and they're only a game and a half in front of the Cowboys in the NFC East. But anyways, I think they'll get a bounce back win and get their 9th win of the season. Titans versus 49ers. Not much to say about this game, but this should be an easy win for the 49ers. As they're playing probably the worst team in the NFL right now, in the Titans. And they will take over as the number 5 seed in that case. Colts versus Seahawks. Daniel Jones tore his Achilles, and he's gonna miss the rest of the season. And as a move of desperation, the Colts signed Philip Rivers out of retirement. Philip Rivers, who's been out of the league for 4 years now, and who's 44 years old. I don't know if he's gonna start immediately or if he's just gonna be in a practice squad. I'm not sure yet. In fact, I'm not even sure who's gonna play quarterback in this game for the Colts. So there should be. I'll go with the Seahawks to win this game. Okay, Packers versus Broncos. The Packers had a great win last week against the Bears. But this week, I'm not sure if they're going to get it done against the Broncos. The 11-2 Broncos at that. And then this game is in Denver. They're going to be playing in that high elevation. And also, they're a 2.5 point favorite against the Broncos. You know what? This will be another upset this week that I'm gonna pick. Give me the Broncos to win. And the Packers will drop all the way to the 7th seed in the NFC. In that case, Chargers versus Chiefs. I think it's safe to say I don't think the Chiefs are making the playoffs this year. Especially after Patrick Mahomes threw 0 touchdowns and 3 interceptions. You throw 3 interceptions in the game, and you're definitely going to lose it. Definitely. In fact, I'm not sure if I'll pick the Chiefs to win another game this year, to be honest. Because I've been picking them to win nearly every week, and I've been wrong so many times this year. So I'll pick the Chargers to win this game. And the Chargers should get their 10th win of the season and be the number 5 seed in the AFC. Ravens versus Bengals. Same thing as the Chiefs. I'm not sure if the Ravens are going to make the playoffs this year. Especially after they lost to Aaron Rodgers and the Steelers last week. That was a game that they had to have won and then win. In fact, I'm not even sure if they beat the Bengals this week. You know what? I'll give them the benefit of the doubt and say that they beat the Bengals. But even if they win, they're still at least a half game behind the Steelers in the AFC North. And they wouldn't even make a wild card at this point with 7 losses. Bills versus Patriots. This looks like the game of the week. At least in the AFC side. The Patriots won that first meeting, and I'll go with the Bills this time to win. I think the Bills win. In that case, the Patriots stay 1 game ahead of the Bills in the AFC East with 3 games left in the season. Jets versus Jaguars. Yeah, the Jaguars shouldn't have a problem in this game. And they'll stay one game ahead of the Texans in the AFC South. Okay, and for the Sunday night game, we have Vikings versus Cowboys. Yeah, I think the Cowboys bounce back and win, and also stay a game and a half behind the Eagles in the NFC East. And it's also looking like either the Cowboys find a way to win that division, or they're not making the playoffs at all. Because I don't see them catching the Packers for a wildcard spot. Okay, and for the Monday night game, we have Dolphins versus Steelers. The Steelers, who lead the AFC North right now, and the Dolphins, who are 6-7 and have only a small chance of getting the wild card. You know, wouldn't surprise me if the Dolphins win, but I'll go with the Steelers to win, especially because this game isn't a cold in Pittsburgh. And that will be the standings. Broncos 1 seed, Patriots 2 seed, Jaguars 3, Steelers 4, Chargers 5, Bills 6, Texans 7. And you have the 8-6 Colts looking in, and Ravens. That's for the NFC. Seahawks 1, Bears 2, Eagles 3, Bucks 4, 49ers 5, Rams 6, and Packers 7. With the Lions being a half game behind the Packers. Well, and it looks like that's all for week 15. Now let me know y'all's predictions. See you later.